Welcome to everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're really delighted to host you here, and I hope you guys enjoy the webinar and learn something interesting today. Before we start, my name is Gary, and I'm the event manager of Code Control and 9 AM. For those of you who are not familiar, Code Control is a curated freelancer marketplace of the best tech freelancers in Europe. We have more than 700 tech freelancers in our community, and we are a remote first company founded in 2016. 9 AM this year is actually our newly launched platform. It is a software suite which is built by freelancers for freelancers. The goal of 9 AM is really to simplify our freelance life, and also yours if you're a freelancer. It basically acts as a client CRM invoicing system, freelance marketplace for both talents and clients. Of course, if you want to find out more about it, you can check it out at 9am.works. Today, actually, I'm joined by Stanyo Raykov, who has been part of the team that have created the VR experience Machu Picchu and the Spirit of Condor. It is on display in the Boca Raton Museum of Art in the USA and Palais de Chaillot, I'm not sure if that's the right pronunciation, in France, and has won the Best Use of VR category at the 12th Annual Lumiere Awards. By the way, yeah, he will join us really soon with a camera, but because he's working on another type of a computer, he doesn't have it on there. So Stanyo Raykov has been an Unreal Engine game developer for ZenART for almost 2 years now. Previously worked in technical support, but took interest in game development. The webinar today is going to be approximately 40 minutes. His presentation is going to be 20-25 minutes. And at the end, we will have a Q&A section. Thank you, Stanyo, for joining us today. And the digital stage is fully yours. You can share your screen and maybe say hello with your camera. Bye. The audio is not on, actually. It's connecting. Just give it a minute or two.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. So yeah, thank you for having me. I'm just connected from 2 devices because the laptop I'm sharing from doesn't have a microphone, camera, sorry. No. So yeah, I just wanted to say hi.
Hi, hi, hi. While he's switching his computer, you can tell us where are you joining from today? Which country?
Oh, hi. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Great, perfect. So I'm going to share my screen in just a second. Great. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Yes, so basically, I've actually had an interest in game development much longer than the past several years. Just I had no idea how to start or where to start, but eventually I found my way. And so yeah, I work for ZenART. This is a virtual reality experience company. Our aim is to create realistic experiences. So basically you can take a quick tour on the other side of the world without actually leaving your town. And today I'm going to talk about the process of creating such an experience, and to help me explain the process, I'm going to also show certain parts of our Machu Picchu experience, which I'm very proud to say that he's earned us several awards, as you mentioned. And yep, so just 1 second. Yeah. So basically the process consists of several parts. The very first part is actually traveling and scanning the locations that we're going to present. And in the very first slides, you can see one of my colleagues operating the tools that we're going to be using for the scanning. And you can see some screenshots from the actual project, how it turned out in the end. So basically what needs to happen is we need to take a lot of photos from each and every angle of the places or objects that we're going to recreate into virtual reality. And that requires a lot of photos. And some places, as you can see, are difficult or impossible to reach. So we use drones to carry the cameras and take the photos for us. And once this process is complete, our colleagues from the art team basically come back home and start processing the recovered photos, starting with reality capture. This is an application that is used to create 3D objects from photos. So here is where the photos come in. Basically, all of them are categorized and used in reality capture to recreate the mountain, the buildings, the structures, everything that we see in there. And since reality capture creates objects, but it's not able to create it without any faults or issues, there's still going to be some things that need to be fixed. And this is where our team really comes in. Basically, they use ZBrush to fix the issues. Maybe there's holes in the objects, and basically bring out all the detail that we're aiming to show in the final product. And sorry. And ultimately, in the end, after the ZBrush project, after the process with ZBrush, we use 3D Max and Houdini to scale down the objects and modify them if needed. We need to scale them down because even though we're striving for detail and realism, there are still limitations in the hardware. And so basically what we do is try to provide as much realism, but at the same time, we need to make sure that it runs smoothly on the computers and the virtual reality headsets. And our animators use Maya to animate the characters that are present in the experience. Basically, specifically in the Machu Picchu experience, we have a guide, one of their emperors, basically tells us a story about their empire, how they used to do things, how they used to live. And while we fly around the experience, around the map, he tells us this story and basically provides a bit more immersion into the story. And after the optimization and the animation is done, we need to create a project and import everything we have in there, all the assets, all the objects. And for this, we use Unreal Engine. So this is where my colleague and I come in, the developers. We create the project and prepare it for the experience, for all the files that are going to be imported into it. And once that is done, my colleagues from the art team import the 3D objects, the buildings, and recreate the Machu Picchu mountain as it is in reality. And after that is done, comes the other side of the project, which is the development, where mostly me and my colleague come in, and basically we make the camera move around the map, and we tell where we need to start certain virtual effects, and what is the course that we're going to take along the map, when we're going to have voice lines, audio effects, and such start. And in addition to that, there's also a person who needs to control the experience while there is, while the participant or the customer who is watching it, because maybe the experience needs to be restarted. We need to move back several seconds or forward, and also the experience itself is run on positron chairs. So once it starts, we need to have an operator on the side, and we provide the controls for that operator. We create them, so they have control of the experience. Once everything is done, the development and the art portion of the project, we move on to testing. So for testing, we have several headsets here in the office, and basically we need to check every single moment of the experience, every single second, every single detail, to make sure that it's exactly the quality that we want to provide, and to make sure there's nothing missing, because sometimes there's maybe we need to move some objects or a tree a little bit to the left, a little bit to the side, so we don't clip through it. After all, we're striving for immersion and realism, and clipping through objects is not going to be very realistic. And basically, once everything is done, we're sure that the project is properly created. There's the quality is confirmed, and we have the final product. And I'm going to show you a small clip of the final product from Machu Picchu in just a second. Here it is. Yes, and basically this is the whole process, and the final product. And if there's any questions that you have, I will be very happy to answer them.
Thank you very much. That was really, really a fast presentation.
Yeah, so
a bit faster than we actually saw it before. But anyways, we do have some questions here from Ciara, and she's asking, or yeah, I hope it's she. How do I access this Machu Picchu experience via my Oculus?
Well, currently the experience is presented in the museums that Gary mentioned. I'm not sure if we can get it for a personal viewing, but it shouldn't be an issue. Basically, if you have the experience itself, the file from when it's run, if you open it, your Oculus Rift is set up, you can play it. Just there's a normal application, and it should run on the Oculus. Now, granted, if you don't have access to such a positron chair, you'll have to look around yourself while you're flying around, because we're essentially flying through the map.
Does this answer the question, Ciara? I have also put in the chat the names of the museums that display the VR experience. Yes, okay. My question would be actually, what kind of challenges have you had during the development of this project? Because I think that would be interesting for people.
Well, from the development point of view, from the developer point of view, rather, the biggest challenge was how to create the path for the camera that we're going to flying around with, because there are several ways to do it, but we needed to find the most optimal way to create the camera and the path. From an artistic standpoint, I think the biggest challenge was making it as realistic as possible without putting in the high resolution files. What I mean is, as part of the process, downgrading a little bit the quality of the objects. If you get close enough to them, you can see that they're pixelated, and in this case, we need to make them less polygons, less detail, but we need to fake with textures that they're realistic and put them in the proper position to not make it so apparent that it's not a real tree, for example. And that was a big challenge.
All right. There's another question. Do you also use the web as a host platform for some other experiences you've made? What is your view on WebXR usability? Thank you, Maya, for the question.
Unfortunately, we don't actually know specifically for the experiences. Machu Picchu and Egypt, they're viewed in the museums, but we have experiences, yes, in Steam. It's one of them is Belograchik, and we can provide Steam codes if needed. Basically, the Belograchik is the first project from this company. It's here in Bulgaria. The idea was exactly this, to create a trip, like a road trip that you can actually interact with. When you put on the headset, you can take a look around manually. In the place, you can interact with different objects. And just a second, let me see something about the web share. I see. So, can you tell me a bit more about what WebXR is? Because I haven't heard it before, Maya. Sorry.
I didn't hear you. So she's asking, do you use the web as a
Yes.
platform? And then what is your view on WebXR usability?
Yes, but I'm not familiar with WebXR, and yeah, I was just asking if you can tell me what it is, so
if
I can provide an answer.
Yeah, if you can let us know what is this. I think that's the successor of WebVR, which is an API for VR experiences in the browser, also usable with a headset or a smartphone.
Oh, nice. Well, we haven't used this before. We haven't actually tried it, but I would be happy to discuss this with my colleagues, because it's I think it's interesting to be able to join from your browser and just use your headset or smartphone.
You mentioned before that the testing part was a bit hard. Can you perhaps let us know how long was this stage for this project?
The testing starts maybe from once the project is 70–80% done until the end, so it can take several months because once we have some partially complete product, or at least the whole path is created, we fly around to see if everything is in place. Then we put on more details, more effects. Then we try again, and as we get closer and closer to the end, we make more and more tests to make everything is in place. So this is where it gets kind of hard, because spending a lot of time in VR is takes a toll on your eyes and on your mind.
Yeah, I guess if you're doing this all day long, that would be pretty hard.
Yeah, there was actually several streamers who tried 24 hours in VR without leaving, and they were in a pretty bad shape afterwards.
Yeah, I guess.
That is, I think that's a downside of VR, because you cannot spend a lot of time in it without having any negative effects.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so Maya is saying that is this the WebXR is actually very experimental as far as she knows. So,
yes, and I just confirmed basically the technology we use at the moment doesn't support WebXR, as it requires too much computing power. So that's why we haven't used it before.
all right. Do we have any other questions? Actually, here in the Q&A, there are none. So what's the design limits for VR to be considered? Thanks, Eva.
Design limits, well,
for viewers' health.
I see. Well, as long as you don't spend several hours in the VR, it's okay. Like, for example, experiences like this, 10, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, play a game, then leave the headset. It's okay. It's just that all things aside, the monitors that are on the headset strain the eyes. And maybe if you haven't used VR headset before, take your time to ease into it, because the very first time I put on a headset, I got really
Dizzy.
nauseous, I guess. Dizzy, yes, dizzy, because in the VR, the VR headset is telling my brain I'm moving, but my body is not moving, and there's a conflict there. But that's easy to get used to.
In the past, there was some color exclusion to prevent from epilepsy, Eva is saying in the chat. Is there some rules about that, if you know?
No, not in particular.
So no one cares about the health of the viewer.
No, what I mean is that we haven't been presented with any information that would that would suggest that this would happen. Also, our experiences don't include such fast blinking lights, which would cause an epilepsy.
Or maybe we don't have enough information about that, or as a statistic. Right.
That too.
All right. Any other questions from the audience? Please do ask them. Actually, how many people went to Machu Picchu for the shooting of like the drones and everything? Drone shooting?
Let me see.
Well, approximately. We're not like.
Maybe 5, 6 people.
Right.
Was it 5? Most of the art team went there with Georgi, one of the bosses. So yeah, most of the art team went there to scan the ruins in the mountain.
Nice.
If I remember correctly, there was an incident with one of the drones. An incident is in they lost it somewhere in the mountain because it went over its range.
Yeah,
So if any one of the audience goes to Machu Picchu with a drone, be sure to mind the range of your drone so you don't lose it.
But actually, I'm not quite sure. Is it like legal for everyone to just fly their drone there? I don't think so.
I'm not sure. Like
for that.
For Egypt, they had to get specific permission to film some of the places. For Machu Picchu, I'm not sure. Maybe they still needed to get permission to access some of the places and or at least film them with the drones.
Mm-hmm. All right, so if there are any other questions, I didn't expect to be so early, but like you were a bit fast. If you guys have any questions, please ask them. If not, we are going to actually upload this on YouTube. So if anyone is interested, you can rewatch it. If there are not any questions, we can maybe say goodbye. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for everyone who joined, and thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to actually present the company and the project. Although it was a little bit fast, but
yeah. If you
I was a little bit nervous, to be honest.
No worries. Yeah, that's why people are here to ask if they're interested in something specific. If not, if you can also reach out to Stanyo if you are interested in something on LinkedIn. And if you want to learn about 9 AM or code control, please do so. Wishing you a nice afternoon and see you soon.
Thank you. Have a nice one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.